Hello and welcome back to the Nancy Boys channel. I'm reviewing today a film that I've just finished watching. It's a film that was recommended to me by a few people, and I've seen it on a couple of end of year lists. And that film was No Exit by Damien. It was out last year. It's currently streaming, I believe, in the UK on Disney Plus. I've just watched it through other sources. This review, as per my standard reviews, will probably be spoiled. It's kind of difficult to talk about films from my perspective if I can't talk about what I've seen. So if you want to see the film for yourself, or you wanted to, just kind of not have anything spoiled for you, I would probably just let you know that I would not recommend this film. Obviously, I'll go into the reasons why. It really depends on what kind of movie experience you're after. I just personally didn't think it was very good. So great. So if you want to go and watch it yourself, click off now because I'm about to go in. So No Exit is a really interesting film from the kind of expectation it kind of set for me with the synopsis. And I'll read the synopsis for you if you just let me just bring that up 2 seconds. So this is kind of word for word how it plays out. So a college student on her way home from visiting her mother gets stuck with a group of people at a mountain rest stop during a blizzard. Things take a turn for the worse when the young woman discovers a kidnapped child in a car belonging to one of the people inside, putting the group in a terrifying life or death situation as they struggle to escape while trying to discover who among them is the kidnapper. So that's the synopsis. I read that on Sunday. This film was recommended to me, but I didn't really get what it was about. So that's kind of what I read. And I thought, this sounds awesome. That sounds like a kind of very taut kind of murder mystery type thing. And I thought, it felt almost like a one-act play. Like we're going to get people stuck in a rest stop, one location, and we're going to spend that whole film kind of questioning who it is. So the film starts, and it's got a very kind of it's fine. The beginning's fine, and the character kind of has a ways and means to get to the rest stop, which she's a recovering addict. She's breaking out of rehab to go and visit her mum who's dying in Salt Lake City. So she's trying to get to Salt Lake City and get stopped. It's kind of the setup. The actual part when she arrives at the rest stop, you go with it. Initially there's this great scene where she arrives and they start to introduce the characters. I started at that point thinking, hang on a minute, there's only about 4 people here. So instantly it was kind of like, this doesn't feel like a lot of people to throw into a mystery. Bearing in mind, we know the main character isn't the one who kidnapped the child. So it was fine. They then start playing this game of bullshit, which is great. And that's sort of done whilst they sort of talk and whilst they sort of get to know each other. So they set up some of the characters really well. And then there's this one character who is a bit shifty and a bit erratic. So you're obviously meant to think, well, clearly it's him that's kidnapped the little girl. She then finds the little girl, and that's all a big fuss. And we're literally about 20 minutes into the film at this point, maybe 25 minutes. And then the shifty guy just walks out to the van with the kidnapped girl in, and it's just revealed that, well, it's him. So the mystery's over. Like, there's this whole thing of, oh, we're going to play this sort of cat and mouse game, and there's this big mystery of, well, who is it? But you know who it is. And it really, really flattens the film. Beyond that, there's a kind of, the secondary spoiler of the main character goes to one of the other people in the rest stop and says, oh, that guy's a kidnapper, da 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 da. And then lo and behold, he turns out to be the second kidnapper, which again is like, it's just not that big a twist. And again, we're like a third of the way in. So all that tension, all that sense of mystery, which I thought we were going to get, is just wasted so quickly. And they just needed probably a few more characters, just a bit more of a build-up. And I don't know, the main character just didn't seem to do a lot in terms of trying to figure it out subtly. She just sort of went to the van with the kid in it and just waited there until the kidnapper showed up. So that's kind of my issue with this film, is it just set itself up to be this really great, intricate mystery, and then it just isn't. And I guess that's why I didn't like it. I think if you go into a film thinking it's going to be quite a generic little slasher film, then great, that's kind of what you get. I just was disappointed because I thought this was a bit of a concept movie, which was going to give us something different. And I would say that last sort of 2/3 is very generic, Like we kind of go through the motions of there's another twist, which doesn't really make sense in the context of the film, and I don't need to spoiler it. I think you can see it for yourself if you're that bothered. But it's not a great twist. It doesn't really make sense, and it doesn't have very much long-lasting consequences. Let me say that. So all in all, it's kind of a throwaway, and then it just becomes one of those last act horror movies where the killers don't kill the main character like they should or like they would because they've killed everyone else, but for some reason they just sort of keep letting her live and get away with it. So yeah, I just found that there wasn't the tension it really needed, and I think for the one setting, it was supposed to be a blizzard. They went out in the snow and they looked mildly cold, like little things like that just really frustrating. So yeah, I feel bad. This is my second video and I'm already kind of into critic mode. And as I understand it, the people that made this film, it's directed by a guy called Damien, and I understand him and his crew are generally quite new to filmmaking. You know, it's not a bad looking film. It looks great. The setting is really lovely. That kind of wintry snowscape rest stop is new. I've not really seen that in horror before. And again, maybe that makes it worse because they sort of threw it away. The acting is also really good. You've got Havana as the lead. She's great. Again, builds quite a bit of, sympathy. You kind of go with it. There's one scene actually where she gets taunted about something about her mum by one of the main characters, sort of the main sort of killer's characters, and that's really powerful. I thought that was really well done. And it kind of motors you through to think, yeah, I just want these guys to die now. So the acting is good. It's got Dennis Haysbert in it, sort of veteran of TV and film, brings a decent amount of credibility to it, but it just isn't enough to save it. I'm actually going back to if you play video games, there's a game called, there's the Hitman series. And whenever I play Hitman, it's always a case of, right, I'll spend the first 20 minutes of the game trying to do the game in this very meticulous, planned kind of way. The aim of the game, obviously, is to kill someone for money. And you're supposed to do it in a very sexy way, like plan it out, observe what people do so you can kind of time a bomb or a knife or poisoning of some kind. And I pretty much, 20 minutes, 30 minutes of playing it, get bored and inevitably just start shooting people. And it just becomes a little bit more like, I just can't be bothered with that subtle thing. That is literally this film. It's like they kind of had a great concept and then they just got bored of it really, really quickly and then just kind of ditched what we were going to get, which was this cool, taut Agatha Christie style thriller where, and actually someone made, this may have been a Reddit comment. I think there's a Reddit thread of, we've had enough remakes. We've had enough kind of reboots of classic franchises that we love. Could we not start rebooting or having a go at films that had a brilliant concept but just weren't executed in the way they should have been? I feel like there's a future video in this and I need to probably list out some others. This is classic of that, like that concept of there's 9 of you in a rest stop rather than 4 and one of you's a kidnapper and you've got to figure it out and there's clues. We've had Glass Onion, and it's a completely different genre, completely different film. But the way that film weaves in clues and that weaves in kind of a narrative, I just wanted something a bit more satisfying than just, oh, well, okay, well, that's the guy that killed them all. So, yeah, so I think I've kind of ragged on No Exit enough. So, as I say, it's on Disney+. It's a quick watch. It's about 90 minutes, which I'm very much in favour of. Films are way too long these days. It's directed by Damien, great cast. It looks good. It's just not for me. Solid 4 out of 10. Unfortunately, I feel really bad for that. But if I'm doing it out of 5 scale, it's a 2 out of 5. So on that basis, it's a 4 out of 10. So, yeah, if you want a cheap kind of Saturday night popcorn movie with not a lot of thought and brains, then you can go check that one out. But it's not going on my list of the best of the year. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Second video here. Like and subscribe. More will be on the way. We got Knock at the Cabin coming out this weekend, M. Night Shyamalan's latest. So I will be looking to try and see that in the next few days and come back to you with my thoughts. All right. Thank you. See you later. Bye-bye.